Hey everyone, and welcome to the NintendoFuse Podcast. This is episode 293, recorded on June 4th, 2024. And on this episode, we're going to be talking about a lot of upcoming events, but also the Indie Live Showcase, the Expo that happened recently, also the Marvelous Game Showcase, and some Lego news in the world of Zelda. But before we jump into any of that, how about we introduce ourselves? My name is Steve, but I'm also joined by Barry. Barry, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How's everybody out there doing tonight?
Let us know in the chat, and also joined, of course, by Greg. Greg, how you doing?
Doing about the best I can. I know my internet might not be the best tonight, but hopefully things just can go pretty smoothly for me. I'm hoping.
Yeah. So we'll see if Greg pops in and out. We'll adjust on the fly and do that sort of thing. Again, this is why you need to be tuning in live so you can see, if things like that happen, you're gonna catch them because I'm gonna take care of that in editing. But you may catch it if it happens live. Speaking of which, we have a full chat room. They've been chatting as we've trying to figure out some tech issues. They've been having a great time talking in the chat room. So if you've never joined us live, we go live every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And we stream on both YouTube and Twitch. And maybe explore some other things. In fact, we've talked about possibly going live also on Twitter or X, depending on what you call it. So if that's something that would interest you, please let us know. You can let us know both on social media. If you haven't followed us at NintendoFuse on your favorite social media platform, you can do that, or you can also join our Discord server community over there, and the link is on the screen, but also in the podcast show notes and the YouTube description. We'd love for you guys to jump in that community over there as well. If you're new to the podcast and you have not subscribed on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube, be sure to do that. And if you do enjoy this, please be sure to share it with other gamers out there that you know and think would also enjoy this as well. As we normally do, before we jump into any of the news that we're going to be talking about and upcoming games and all that sort of thing, let's take a look at the past, what we've been doing over the last couple weeks. And we'll go to you first, Greg. What have you been playing over the last couple weeks?
All right, so I was saying I was working on some of the game chat games, like the Builder Sim and also like Scarlet Tower, stuff that will be posting or already posted at the time of this recording. I was also playing some Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3. I did all three Switch versions and actually did manage to beat all three of them. So it's really fun to be able to revisit those classics from the regular Nintendo. Super Mario 64 to try to get up to speed before I start playing the 1,000-Year-Old Door that I already pre-ordered and loaded, but I haven't even opened because I wanted to finish the Paper Mario 64 first. That was pretty much a pretty busy time on Switch there, and then on mobile still playing the same set of Roblox games and Simpsons Tapped Out. I won't be diving super deep into that because it's not always the most interesting to hear about, I'm sure. So
Nice.
You beat Dragon Quest 1 really quickly. I saw you play that and then immediately went to 2. That was quick.
I had previously played it, but when I loaded up my save file, I had defeated the Dragon Lord, so that went by really fast. So I just had to walk back to the castle and watch the ending.
That explains it. It was say, wow, you beat that so quickly. It's not that short of a game.
Use the Game Genie there, the digital Game Genie.
I always love that game too, because at the end of the game it tells, like, the Dragon Lord's like, do you want to join me? And like, if you're like, yeah, let's join, like, he just kills you. I made that mistake on the NES because I was like, yeah, sure, cool, bad guy wanted me to join. That's hell yeah.
How bad would it be if you had to like start the whole game over at that point?
Thankfully you don't.
And start from the beginning.
You still have to get back to him though. You can't just save anywhere.
Nice.
Yeah, you go back to your last save at that point. My brother did that on NES as well too. He was like, "That'd be so cool to fight alongside the bad guy," and they're like, "Nope, it just pretty much freezes the game and like it plays like this really deep."
Going the live chat, it looks like Jakester says he's finished Live Alive and played Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, got the Master Sword and a whole row of hearts, started Paper Mario 2, finished the playing card event in Pikmin Bloom and the Entei event in Pokemon Sleep. He's been playing Pokemon Sleep quite a bit, or
Yeah.
sleeping quite a bit. I don't know. I still haven't booted that game up. I don't even know really how it even goes about. Have you tried it at all?
No, I was thinking about doing it, but then I'm like, A, you have to keep your phone on, and B, with the fact of having a newborn, when it was coming out, I didn't know what my sleep schedule was going to be like. So I'm like, this is the worst time in the world for this.
You should put it on your newborn and then be like, "Hey, kid, I need you to sleep because I gotta catch Pokemon. Like, go to sleep."
Thankfully, he's very good about sleeping, so I'm blessed. But I didn't know that at the time, and that also just like keeping the phone on all night long. Like, to me, it's like it's battery. I already have a 6-year-old phone, so the battery is crap because Apple did that whole bull crap with the. So I'm constantly plugging up. So that's the last thing I need is is another battery sucker.
Got it. Well, Barry, what have you been playing over the last couple weeks?
Yeah, so I've been playing quite a bit. Still doing Pokemon Unite, and did the latest 7-star raid in Pokemon Scarlet. Some game chat stuff. Zhuanyan Sword 7, which I played through and beat, and I did a full review, but it's a 3D action RPG, Chinese RPG. That it's amazing that East Asia Soft was able to get it to run on the Switch and has run as well as it is. But you could check out my review for that. Construction Simulator 4, which we'll be talking about here soon. Pac-Man Chomp Champs, which we'll be talking about here soon. Tadpole Trouble Encore, which will be going live here soon. Star Wars Hunters came out today, and I almost forgot, so I've been playing that. I unlocked Ranked, and Ranked kicked my butt. But first I was like, am I playing with bots? Like, this feels too easy. And then I realized, oh, I'm not. Like, this is weird. Like, and then I would lose a match, and I was like, oh my god. But I had some close calls. It was a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it more than I thought I would. I'm not usually one of these type of games, but I like the Star Wars atmosphere and the characters and all that stuff. So will I continue to play it? Yes. Will I drop money on it and play it elongated time? I don't know. But for now, I'm having fun. But it's only day one.
Nice.
Let's see. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door came out, so I did play and I did beat that. I did not 100% it. I got all the catalogs outside of the Pit of 100 Trials. I didn't do the Pit of 100 Trials because I'm not the biggest fan of going down and doing grindy stuff, but I did very much enjoy it, and I do recommend it. It is a great game, of course. On PS5, I did play a game called White Shadows. It's a atmospheric platformer, kind of like Oddworld meets Limbo meets Inside. Really, really interesting. No combat or anything. It's just a platformer. Really, really cool. Unfortunately, it's not on Switch. On the PC, playing some Final Fantasy 14, prepping up for Dawn Trail, getting ready. It's only a few weeks away. And on mobile, ironically, mobile blew up this week, or these 2 weeks. Mario Kart Tour, I'm still playing, of course. Went back to Mario Run because they had the Paper Mario event, and I've been missing these events, so it was kind of fun to go back to Mario Run and play that. And I did all 9 events there. I was part of the beta test for a game called Sonic Rumble. So I played that. That is like Sonic the Hedgehog Fall Guys. That's what it is. It is Sonic the Hedgehog Fall Guys. So if you ever played Fall Guys, you kind of know what you're doing with. Just picture Sonic worlds and Sonic characters, but you're using your phone, using touch controls as like the analog and the buttons. So they're not nearly as responsive as they should be. And in a game like Fall Guys, it was troublesome. So I did not have as much fun, and I let them know that in the survey. I don't know if this is coming to the mobile or non-mobile platforms. I could see it being fun on Switch, but as it stands, I do not think I will be actually playing the proper release. But it was cool to beta test and test it out. And then finally, on Trails of Cold Steel, or Legend of Hero Trails of Cold Steel, the Northern War finally came out in America. And I actually sat down and finally watched the anime because I finally got Crunchyroll for a week to sit down and watch that. It's in English. But the game itself it's gotcha, but it has a lot of auto. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Dragalia Lost, but unfortunately, it does also remind me a little more of like the Tales of mobile games, and those were not the best cup of tea. Like this is not a game as much as I'm a big fan of the Trails of series. I see myself dropping any money on.
Hmm.
But I am currently just enjoying going through the motions until I hit that paywall, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm done. I've at least seen the anime, but I'm having fun thus far. And it's great to see all the characters and see what how they act and make. It's almost like Reverie or Cold Steel 4 of making a
Hmm.
dream team of characters from different games. But
Cool.
yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Cool. I have been playing Scarlet Tower, which we did a game chat on. I'll spoil it. I've been playing Pac-Man Chomp Champs, which we will be doing a game chat on really soon. Tadpole Trouble Encore, again, that would be dropping really soon. Wizardry, played that. Got our game chat out already. Builder Simulator, Construction Simulator 4, also coming out on game chats really soon. So as Barry and Greg have already said, like we're going to be diving into those games more in detail on our YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed to get all those. And pretty much, other than playing those games for review, I've only been playing Rocket League, Clash Royale, and Pokemon Go. So it's not a whole lot of new things. Rocket League's wrapping up this current season. They've hinted at a little bit of what's coming next, but apparently the licensed cars that they've released before, they've said like you can't put any extra things on them to make them look different than what they come like. Mostly because the developers or the actual people that like made those cars want them to look a certain way. But apparently some of those are going away, those restrictions, and you're going to be able to put whatever wheels you want or whatever other things you want on some of those licensed cars. So that could be fun, but I don't really even go with anything special. I have a pretty stock car that I have animated decal on, and that's about it. So I guess it'd be fun for some people. People are still clamoring for trading to come back in Rocket League, but hasn't yet. So I forgot, I did play. There's a new game from the Clash people that did Clash Royale and Clash of Clans and all those games. There's a new like kind of brawler, like I don't know, it's like a 3D, I don't even know how to explain it really. I played it a couple times and I was done with it after a little bit. It was like it was kind of too complicated and too simple at the same time, and I didn't really enjoy it. But I know that people are enjoying it too, so it's free to play. All those games are free to play except for if you want to advance faster, pay some money out, and that's just how that works. So that's pretty much what I've been playing as well. If you have not let us know in the live chat, let us know what you've been playing after the fact on our YouTube video in the comments, but also over on our social media and our Discord. We love hearing what you guys have been playing as well. Jake's just talking about how he played as he rocked the Ecto 1 in Rocket League from Ghostbusters, and then they're bringing back Ghostbusters apparently this Saturday for the 40th anniversary. That's crazy. That's from 40 years.
40 years. Oh my God.
That's crazy. Well, before we jump into our news headlines, we want to tell you all about this mental performance shot called Magic Mind. That's made with mushroom, nootropics, adaptogens, plus 100% of your daily vitamin C and vitamin D per bottle. It's designed to help you get focused, mentally clear, motivated, productive, and all the while reducing stress as well. And I've been drinking it for the last couple of weeks, and yeah, I've definitely noticed the days where I forget to drink one of these shots in the morning. And there's definitely some things that I've noticed throughout the day that I'm like, oh, I'm not as focused as I was the day before when I actually drank this, or playing Rocket League. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, like I'm getting distracted sometimes, but just like no more video games. But I actually drink this. I will be able to focus and play better, which is kind of crazy to think about it. But Magic Mind reached out to us a while back and sent us some of their shots of their product to try it out before sponsoring this episode. So we've been drinking it, like I said, for a couple of weeks to see how it just affects our daily life, but also our gaming sessions. So Barry, how have you seen it continue to impact your gaming?
Yeah, so obviously having a newborn, I'm diverting a lot of my attention. I definitely need focus, and it's been a severe help over the past few weeks, just making sure that my son gets the attention. But then when I have the time to game, which is limited now, I'm able to focus. I'm able to make sure I'm absolutely giving it 100%. And even like I mentioned, I was playing Star Wars Hunters earlier. I thought I was playing against bots because of this thing. Like I was so hyper focused. I was getting MVPs and I was killing. And the game just launched today, so this is my very first time of actually playing. So I was like, holy crap, this is not a game I normally do. Is it because of this? I don't know, but it certainly helped. Just everything, even Paper Mario, just like so focused on getting to the end of the game, and the end of the game is kind of a bit of a drag. That last dungeon keeps going, but it didn't bother me. Like I think I finished it at like 2 o'clock in the morning. My wife was like napped, and she woke up and she was like, "You're still playing this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got to keep going. I got to." I was just hyper focused. So this honestly has been helping quite a bit, and is a real game changer.
That's cool. Greg, have you seen similar effects?
Yeah. So I'm also been taking like the Magic Mind stuff as well too. So it really helped powering through some of the Dragon Warrior games that I talked about earlier. Like I was trying to figure out like where to go, and then I was kind of putting like two to two together to put more focus into saying like, oh, here's on a spot on the map that I have not visited yet, so that must be where I need to go. And then if that wasn't it, then I just was still moving on to like the next one, and it really helped me to stay focused and motivated to keep going through to figure out like the right path through, because it kind of opens up after like the initial first part of the game, like at least in the third one and the second game that I had played. So I've definitely seen improvement over the last few weeks, and it feel like it's really helped me get.
And I think one of the biggest things, like you guys are both saying, it's helping my focus in video games is the best. Like a lot of times I get distracted or whatever, and I think for Rocket League, I get annoyed by other players, as we've talked about before, and for this lowers stress and helps focus, which is fantastic when playing Rocket League online, because I don't get stressed at my teammates as much, and also be able to stay focused and be able to like actually do what I'm supposed to do in the game. But remember, Magic Mind is 100% safe, and you can also try it 100% risk free. If you don't like it, you can get a full refund within 100 days after buying it. So you can buy it in Sprouts. You can buy it at Central Market, Air One, grocery stores. But if you also want to get it online, you can go to magicmind.com/NintendoFuse. And we have a great deal for you. If you want to use our offer code, NintendoFuse20, that's NintendoFuse20, all one word, you can get 48% off your first subscription of Magic Mind and 20% off a one-time purchase with the code NintendoFuse20. So head over to magicmind.com/NintendoFuse to learn more and use our code at checkout to receive 48% off your first subscription and 20% off a one-time purchase. You'll be able to find that link and the discount code also in our YouTube video description and the podcast show notes. And thank you so much, Magic Mind, for helping our energy and our focus levels, and also for sponsoring a portion of this episode. So let's move into our headlines, and boy, do we have a lot of headlines for you in this episode. Lots of things coming up, and as we get switched over here, there's lots of stuff going on. I have like so many different tabs open on my screen. It's kind of ridiculous. But for the first headline, we're going to let you know that Nintendo has announced a second U.S. store, and the people rejoice. It's not going to be just in New York anymore. They're going to be opening another one in San Francisco, in 2025. So I'm actually heading over to New York next month, and unfortunately won't have enough time to actually visit Barry while I'm there. But looking forward to going to the New York Nintendo store. Maybe you can meet us over there, Barry. But while we're there, we're hoping to see it real quick. But now I'll be able to go to San Francisco, I guess, if I want to also go to a Nintendo store.
All right, so Dragon Quest had its anniversary just over the past 2 weeks, and then they have officially confirmed that the remake of Dragon Quest 3 HD dash 2D is going to be releasing on Switch. Then the game was previously announced, but it was not yet confirmed for a Nintendo platform. So on the day of their anniversary, there will be a Switch version of this game.
And previously, we talked a little bit about Nintendo Live going to Sydney, Australia. We reported that back in April. Well, that will take place between August 31st and September 1st. Well, now we have a little bit of more information of what will be held. The Switch 2 will be shut. No, I'm just kidding. It won't be. But instead, you can go. You can get tickets now. And they announced that Charles Martinet will be there. He'll have a stage event. There'll be Q&A, sharing stories, all that jazz. So if you are in Australia, you happen to be going there, you get to talk to Charles Martinet and play some cool games and see the Switch too. Now, maybe, I don't know, maybe. Go there and report it and let us know.
Probably not.
Probably
But
not.
so we have an unlikely partnership here. The Red Cross, the American Red Cross, and Tetris have partnered up to celebrate the 40th anniversary of Tetris. And so if you give blood between now and June 9th, 2024, not only will you get a Tetris t-shirt, but you'll also get a chance to win a chance to meet the Tetris creator Alexei Pajitov in person, a trip for two to New York City, and you can probably also see Barry while you're there. You can sign up to donate over at redcrossblood.org.
Very exciting news for the Nintendo Switch, but in Japan, it is now the highest selling console of all time. It has just passed the Nintendo DS, which was the previous leader for the country of Japan. So we now have a new crowned winner with the Nintendo Switch. So I guess we'll have to make it now. It's trying to chase PlayStation 2 worldwide, and it'll be truly on top here. But exciting to see the Switch do so well over its amazing 7-year span.
And since we're now in E3 season, even though E3 is no longer a thing, at least not this year, that doesn't stop all the developers from going out there and saying, hey, we got new games and you guys need your Christmas in June. So we're going to start off with Devolver. Devolver Direct presentation is happening June 7th. That's this week. You can catch it at 5 p.m. Pacific. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. Their presentations are always the weirdest out there, so you do not want to miss Volvy's 15th birthday party presentation.
Yeah, and sticking with that, Yacht Club Games has also announced their special edition of Yacht Club Games Presents to celebrate the 10th anniversary of Shovel Knight. This live stream event will be taking place on their YouTube channel on Friday, June 14th at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And yeah, we love Yacht Club Games. It'd be exciting to see what they show off, and of course, celebrating the anniversary of Shovel Knight.
And just in case we need even more directs, the Wholesome Direct will be airing on June 8th, so just another few days away after the Devolver Direct. So if you were really looking into the Wholesome game sales, where they have a big bundle of games for, unless I misspoke, but it's just another direct that will have a lot of upcoming indie games.
And if that's still not enough, the Guerrilla Collective has announced a new presentation that is happening on June 6th. So that is really right around the corner. This is happening at 1 p.m. Eastern. However, if you happen to be in Los Angeles, California, there will be an in-person event happening on June 7th, the day after, and that starts at 5 p.m. Pacific. And this is a big event. There's going to be a lot of games shown off. So it'll be really interesting to see what they have.
And Nintendo is bringing back their Play Nintendo tour to 9 cities across the U.S. from June 13th to September 2nd, 2024. Lots of photo ops, games to play, plushies to win, a lot of other stuff. The 9 city tour schedule is on our Twitter, but also on the screen right now if you're watching the video version. But yeah, heading to Salt Lake City, Denver, Houston, Des Moines, Philadelphia, East Rutherford, Greenville, Miami, and Minneapolis. And it looks like Barry and I might be able to go to one, but Greg, they're not coming to Chicago. What's up with that?
I wish I could say usually it's on the list, but can't dive any further into that. But last time we spoke that there will be a Nintendo Direct that will be happening sometime this June. So just a reminder to everyone that Nintendo posted on X before last podcast saying that Furukawa was saying that there'll be an actual Nintendo Direct featuring upcoming Switch games for the remainder of this year. So I know our thing with the NintendoFuse podcast is it tends to predict like when this will be. So announcement tomorrow, maybe? Who knows? But maybe it might be closer to the E3 timeframe with all these other awesome showcases we just were talking about.
Right. Lots and lots of things happening. In fact, we have already made a call that we were not going to. We're going to be taking some time off over the next, month and a half. But now we can't really do that. So, so we're going to be doing a pre-recorded episode sometime over the next week and a half in order to try to get you another episode. In our regular every other week schedule, so dropping on June 18th, because there's so many events going on. But Barry, anything stand out to you? Anything that you're really, really excited about from these headlines?
Yeah, so this is a big one. Dragon Quest 3, I'm glad to see it's coming to Switch, and especially when Square Enix mentioned that they were canceling some projects because they missed their fiscal goals. A lot of people, myself included, were worried that this was going to be one of the games that was cut because we hadn't heard anything about it in so long. So that reassurance that it was not cut, that it is coming and to come to Switch is really like amazing. The second store thing, I don't know why it took them so long. I hope it does well in San Francisco. I'm happy for all those in the West Coast. I will not be going to it, but I'm happy for all those people. Great to see Charles Martinet do his Mario ambassador. Is that what they called him? Like,
Something like that.
going off to Sydney and talking to fans, and great opportunity for people. Tetris, the 40th anniversary. There's a lot of weird collaborations. I don't know if you saw it. I wound up getting one. They collaborate with 7-Eleven. There's a bunch of Tetris merchandise, but they made a Tetris smoothie portable Tetris player, where it's a smoothie
I did
cup that
see
plays
that.
Tetris. And I wound up getting one, but they sold out really quickly, and they're going for stupid prices right now. But it's like I had to have it. I'm like, this is just so bizarre. I have to get this. This is just so weird. So it doesn't surprise me that there's more crazy Tetris collaborations. As for the Switch being Japan's #1 console, that says a lot, especially considering that we've had the pandemic, because that cut a lot of people's transportation, and we already know portable gaming in Japan is very big because of public transportation. So it's great to see the Switch is still doing well. The Play Nintendo tour, like you said, East Rutherford, New Jersey is right near me. I've yet to go to American Dream. It will always be Xanadu for me, and it's one of those things where do I really want to go out there to do that to play games I already own? Like I already can
Yeah.
sit here and play them, or I've already beaten them. So it's not as big appealing to me, but I'm glad they're doing this again. It will help with their 13 million Switches they want to sell this year. And as for everything else, you know what? E3, when E3 died, I know some people were cheering, we don't need E3 anymore, blah, blah, blah. I love E3. I always love E3. It was a very magical time of year for me every year. I just loved the showcases, but not only just the game announcements, but the presentations, the actual presentations. I love watching how people present things and figuring it out and seeing what works and what doesn't. And with so many weird E3 moments from the live presentations that we no longer have. But I'm so happy to see that game development is still, trucking on, and that magic of the year is not going to be disappearing because we've got a bunch of these, and Devolver is always a blast. I can't believe they're still going on. So I love that they're still doing these, because I know Devolver hasn't been having the best of luck. I know the Special Reserve, which they've owned, they like folded into themselves. So I'm glad to see them still trucking. Yacht Club Games always does some great stuff. Wholesome Direct is chock full of great titles. Guerrilla Collective as well. So I'm looking forward to watching all these and talking to you all about them.
Yeah. Greg, how about you?
I definitely agree on all the different presentations that will be happening, and obviously we'll be covering those in more detail in the next episode. But yeah, it was pretty cool to see that they're opening another store. Obviously, I wish it was a Chicagoland store, but obviously they want to go a little bit closer to home there in Washington, and even I think they had that temporary office that Kit and Krista were in, like near San Francisco. So it obviously was kind of almost expected to be on that side of the country if there was to be a second one. So it's great to see them expanding, and hopefully we'll get one here in the Midwest at some point. Dragon Quest 3, definitely excited for that. I don't know if that kind of motivated me to try to play through the current Switch version remake of it, which is like the Game Boy Color like remake, I guess, with a few extra different changes or something to it. But it was still pretty fun to replay through that classic game. The Nintendo Live is also really cool to see that they're bringing that back. It's always fun to listen into the concerts and stuff and all the different things that happen over on the YouTube channel. So that'll be fun to see there. Yeah, that's pretty much just about it. Like, obviously, it's really exciting for all the great directs and all those upcoming games that we'll have for the rest of the year, and possibly even some for early next year as well. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. It seems like a lot of people in the chat are also just missing E3, missing what it once was, and yeah, it seems like this is still a great time for developers and publishers to kind of show off their stuff. We still like it happening, and they're still going to push their stuff out there, whether E3 happens or not. And we're going to talk just a bit about Summer Game Fest and what it's becoming and everything, and. But yeah, I'm excited to see all these different presentations. I do miss that some of them are kind of in this cohesive package of E3. And again, Summer Game Fest is kind of trying to do some of that sort of thing, but it would be nice to kind of have all that together, because sometimes I think I forget. Oh yeah, that thing is going on, and oh yeah, that thing is, and sometimes they overlap and all that stuff. So it was nice to have that, but it's always good to see new games. Yeah, I wish again that they'd have a store, somewhere in the middle of the country. They're going on both coasts. So maybe in 30, 40 years, we'll get one, in Chicago and Denver. That'd be great. But for now, I guess, San Francisco is a little closer than New York. So maybe, I don't know. But
watch them open one in Denver, and then you're already moved on and moved somewhere else in the country.
Right. The day that I decide to move, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, we got a new store in Denver." But yeah, I think it's exciting. I wasn't planning on giving blood, but I don't know. Maybe a Tetris T-shirt and a chance to head out to New York to see Alexi might be cool. We'll see. Just so random. But I forgot about that 7-Eleven deal as well. I totally forgot about it, and I go to there's a 7-Eleven on my way home almost every day, and so I usually stop in there to get something, and I totally forgot about it, and then that kind of bums me out because I got all the
secrets and stuff.
Okay, because the Rocket League stuff that they had for a while, I got all that and everything, and I was so excited for that collaboration, but I forgot about the Tetris one. But yeah, I think everything else seems cool. Excited about this Nintendo Direct. We have no idea when it's going to happen. It's just sometime in June, so we'll see what happens. And I don't play Dragon Quest, but seeing it in HD would be really, really cool. Oh man, that's cool. See, that's what I really want, is that. I don't know what I would do with it except for just look at it, play it once, and then put it back in the box. But but it still looks cool though.
I'm putting it on display next to my McDonald's chicken nugget that plays Tetris. because they had that collaboration with McDonald's of Japan.
It's so funny, like especially watching like the documentaries on Tetris and then that Tetris movie that they put out and everything, and just realizing that there was so much difficulty to get that thing published outside of Russia. And now we're slapping it on chicken nuggets and Slurpees. Like, what is this? So, well, anyway. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about all these different gaming events on our next episode. Like I said, it'll be a pre-recorded one because of some traveling schedules and other things going on June 18th is when that will drop on YouTube, but also on podcast apps everywhere. On June 18th is the day that I will be visiting Super Nintendo World for the very, very, very first time. So pretty excited about that. But I'll get into that a little later. Before we jump into that, let's hop into our main discussions. And as I alluded to earlier, we're going to talk about this Summer Game Fest. Jeff Keighley is back again with the 2024 Summer Game Fest. It all starts this weekend. Friday, starting at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time on summergamefest.com. You can check out all the different announcements and things over there. One of the things that Jeff has said is that we need to lower our expectations for Summer Game Fest this year, which is great. Sometimes I wish Nintendo would come out and say that. But he said this year's showcase will be focused on already announced games. So kind of diving into things that we already know. Don't set high expectations for world premieres. Those will be saved for, the Game Awards. World premiere all the time. But for Summer Game Fest, not so many world premieres. It's going to be focused on things that we already know. But also, he says he would love for Nintendo to be a part of Summer Game Fest. But nothing's been announced quite yet. But that is something that he definitely would love for Nintendo to be to play a big part in Summer Game Fest, and I think we would as well. So, not a whole lot to talk about here. What we do know, but let's speculate a little bit, or kind of talk about expectations, what we're hoping to see this weekend in Summer Game Fest. What are you hoping to see, Greg?
Well, I guess the main thing out would be an update on Silk Song for the Hollow Knight sequel. That would be great, but I know that's still a pipe dream at this point. I know that's the most anticipated indie title that I've been looking forward to. But I mean, a lot of these things, it's kind of hard to predict like what will be shown because they're somewhat smaller case games. So it's not like we're going to be like, oh, there's Mario Wonder 2 or Tears of the Kingdom 2 or something like that. We're not going to see anything like that, obviously. So, yeah, I'm usually blown away a lot of the different indie games, and I usually walk away with like a list of games to check out. So I mean, whatever is coming out this summer that I haven't really seen or seen updates on already, then it'd be pretty cool to try to see some updates on those.
Yeah. Barry, what are you expecting for this weekend?
I want to see good pacing. That's really what I want to see. I know there's going to be a lot of updates and lower expectations, and that's fine. I think he has to say that because there's that stigma. He wants to be this E3 substitute, and E3 had those lofty expectations. We're going to be blown away. We're going to be excited. And he probably, it's probably very similar to what Nintendo did earlier this year, where they're like, we don't have much to show. Let's do a partner direct. And it's probably that. He's like, oh, if I don't say anything, people are going to be disappointed. They're probably going to be disappointed either way, but he's at least kind of setting the stage. I'd like to see some updates on games I'm really looking forward to, like the new Mana game. I'd like to see, some stuff for that. Most things from Square, absolutely, don't nod. But I don't know. I know a lot of times in Jeff Keighley's presentations, I'm going to say a good 90 to 95% of the games shown off are just either they're not my cup of tea, or even if they are of interest to me, I forget about them. They slip under the radar, and I'm just like, oh yeah, that was a thing. I totally forgot about that. And usually reviews will pull me back in. But I guess we'll have to see with things like Ubisoft making all these really dumb decisions lately. It has me less excited for like their Star Wars outings and stuff like that. And now I guess we'll see. I mean, I know it's not Nintendo, but in the clip they showed Astrobot, and that looks fantastic. That was part of the state of play. That was the only game really at the state of play that I was really excited about. And that's pretty much a Nintendo game on Sony as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be great to see. I'm looking forward to see more of this stuff, but yeah, I want to see more Nintendo there, and
Yeah.
I doubt that it's gonna happen. But yeah, and the interesting thing is, yeah, Nintendo was the first the first team to really pull out of E3, and like
Oh,
they really
Sony
didn't. Did they?
So yeah, Sony did years
Well, I guess
ago.
in terms of a regular presentation, my bad. So a regular presentation, Nintendo was the first to pull out. But yeah, so like they've been kind of doing their own thing for quite a while now in terms of presentations, and so it'd be weird if all of a sudden they said, "Oh yeah, like our next Nintendo Direct is going to be a part of Summer Game Fest." So I'm not necessarily expecting that, but it would be kind of cool to see them pop up and say, "Okay, yeah, let's show off this next game," or something like that. We're not going to see Switch 2 during this sort of thing for sure, but it would be cool to see more from Nintendo.
I don't know if you remember in E3 2021, that one random year that it came back before it disappeared again, and it was all digital and it was all online. The one day was literally Nintendo Direct, and then it was a Treehouse, and that was part of E3. That was the E3 presentation. There was nothing else going on outside of that, and that's what they aired.
Mm-hmm.
I I I think because Nintendo's already doing their own presentation. We know a Direct is coming. I don't see the harm. In fact, I only see the benefit of putting it as part of Summer Game Fest to get different views. But at the same time, is that more of a benefit for Jeff Keighley?
Right.
Because Nintendo Direct's already pulling the audience. Is the Summer Direct gaming Direct, like, is that audience, Summer Game Fest, is that the same audience? Like, what's the overlap?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's a big overlap, but of the people who are not Nintendo fans, who only game on PC or Xbox or PlayStation, that are there for the big AAA high graphics, complain if there's 3,000 frames per second because it's not 3,001 frames per second. That audience, are they going to care? Would they tune in for Nintendo Direct if it was part of Summer Game Fest? I don't know. And is that an audience that Nintendo honestly is chasing? I don't think so. They're quite content with their audience they have now, I think.
Yeah. Well, and that relationship that Jeff had with Nintendo was mostly with their former president, like with Reggie. And so now that Reggie's not there, I don't know if that relationship is as strong.
Doug is at the Game Awards.
Yeah, but I mean, like Jeff and Reggie were like buddies. He doesn't have that close of a relationship with Doug Bowser, as far as I know. It's not been public, at least. I mean, him and Reggie, like, it was obvious. And so, like, if he were going to convince anybody to be a part of it, I feel like Reggie could be maybe convinced, but I don't know if he has a strong enough relationship with Nintendo of America now that he could say, "Hey, be a part of this." And it's not just Nintendo America. They got to convince corporate, like the Japan, to like, "Hey, be a part of this thing we're doing over in America." And yeah, it's probably not going to benefit you any, but it'd benefit us. So, yeah. But I will say, I did have a chance to go to Summer Game Fest, and I'm really bummed because I have something else going on at the same time. But I did get to be a part of a lot of emails and things like that have been going around, and I am under embargo for a lot of that stuff. So I can't say any details. But however, I will just say, from what I've seen, what Jeff has said about setting your expectations low, I can second that. Yeah. There's nothing has come across via email that I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this." It's more like, "Oh, okay, cool." So that's
like
my non-information.
The expectations is always so hard to set. I mean, everybody always tries to say like, "Oh, set the bar really low," and then everybody always tries to shoot for the moon. So it's like when Nintendo even announces like, "Oh, it's only going to be like Switch titles, then like, oh, where's the next gen Switch? Where's the Switch 2? Where's the Switch Pro games? Like, what? Give me Mother 3. It's like all these like super high end things that like are very unreasonable and like pretty much guaranteed never to happen, and then they get upset that that stuff's not shown off.
And the other problem is there's all these leakers, and some of them are accurate, some of them are not. So if the leaker's not accurate, and people get upset that Game X isn't shown off because Game X never existed, it was just what some person decided to say. But then if they're right and they do talk about Game X, and then the Game X is shown, they go, "Oh yeah, that was already leaked. I knew about that." They don't care. It's like the surprise is gone. They're like, "I knew about that, whatever." And then they get disappointed. Oh, they didn't show off anything that wasn't already leaked that I already didn't know. So I give it a D grade. And I'm like, what? Like, you just ruined the surprise for yourself. That's like saying, "Oh, I opened up my Christmas gift and there's $1 million here, but I already knew that I was getting $1 million. So mom, dad, F you, this Christmas sucks." You know, it's like, wait a
It should have
minute,
been
what?
5 million.
Yeah.
You know,
Welcome to the internet.
yeah, that's the internet, and it's crazy, and that's where all these expectations, it's impossible, and you can't please everybody. That's an absolute given, especially on the internet. There's always going to be discourse, but I feel like, you know, certain companies can't win. You know, and I feel you're going to see people wanting to, like, say Silk Song is not shown off. You're going to see people with Jeff's head on a pike in images and going to be like, "Ah, Silk Song, this sucked because Silk Song wasn't shown off." Jeff has no control over what's shown off. They bring stuff to him, or he may ask. It's whatever they give. But, you know, people are quick to throw blame if they're not happy, and boy, are people not happy.
Yeah, Greg, you better
Yeah.
not be going after Jeff
Oh,
because the Silk Song's in there.
oh, I'm gonna be getting my torches and flames and bows and arrows ready to go to storm the castle if it's not shown. No, I was just throwing out something super unreasonable. I understand that was way out of reason for that kind of
Oh, I
direct.
know,
I mean,
but you have a sensible head, Greg. You understand that. The majority of the internet does not, and that's the problem. Because you'll see tons of articles and tons of people upset on Facebook and Twitter and death threats. I mean, we've seen it before.
Right. And as Jake's just saying in the chat, like, yeah, he just puts the event together. It's very true. Jeff shouldn't be held, responsible for any of this. He's just going after and saying, "Hey, I want to put this event together. Give me your stuff so I can make it be a part of this." And yeah, he doesn't in control of all these games, but we'll go after him. Like, he'll be one of the first to blame if the game you really wanted is not shown. Yeah, because it's all Jeff Keighley's fault.
yeah,
They do it
how
to
you should get.
Nintendo.
Shoot the messenger. Shoot the
Yep.
messenger.
Exactly. I guess it's just the part of the role of playing the role that he just decided to play. That's what you get, unfortunately. Well, let's move on to another main discussion. Indie Live Expo happened recently. 10th outing, over 150 games shown off in this gigantic online event. So, Greg, tell us a little bit more about Indie Live Expo 2024.
Yeah, there was a number of games that were covered on Nintendo Life from the Indie Live Expo. So I'll just go through in a few, pretty much how they have them categorized on Nintendo Life. There's like 4 different waves. So there's like Hello Goodbye, which is already available now. There's the Many Pieces of Mr. Koo, also available now. The Gap, also available now. Palo Pines, also available now. And also the Godzilla Vexel Wars, which is also available now. Did any of these 5 games coming to the Switch excite either of you guys? Like, starting with Steve?
Yeah, I think the first thing that jumped out at me, it was like, oh, good, look, another cat game. Night at the Meowseum. I can't even pronounce that, and it's supposedly English. So whatever that game is, yeah, it looks cute. But Hello Goodbye was actually the game that stood out to me from this batch of games, and yeah, I didn't realize it was already out. Definitely need to check it out. Mr. Koo is just silly, and it's not a game I'll play, but it's kind of silly. And the Gap also seems kind of interesting. I believe it's, if I'm remembering correctly, I think this is the one that's more of the kind of mystery sort of deal. And I don't think it's one that I would enjoy as much as like some of those ones from Don't Nod, but it is interesting to kind of check it out. So, but yeah, definitely Hello Goodbye was the one that stood out to me from this section.
Yeah, I'm gonna
What
echo
about you,
that.
Greg?
Hello Goodbye was the standout, and the Mr. Ku actually had a previous game that's on the Switch too, which did get a European physical, and I was like, oh my God, they're making a sequel already. Like I feel like this came out, so I think that's kind of cool. But I'll say this, and I guess this isn't actually there's not much you can do when you have 150 games to show off. But this is one of those presentations where each game gets about 20 to 30 seconds tops, maybe less than 30 seconds, close to 20 seconds, and it's just trailer back to back. So I'm glad they did them in waves to break them up, but there's no real like I guess correlation to the waves that I saw. Because even like, oh, there's some games available now in the second wave, and I guess they did try to go by release date, but it's still like it's all over the place. So it's not just like Switch here, like in the 7 minutes of wave one, you got 5 Switch games. So if you're a Switch only gamer, there's a lot to shift or sift through. But it just shows how many indie games there are. Like this is a golden age for indie, and really there's so much to play across all systems. So I'm glad they did this, but be prepared for rapid fire, presentation. Okay, well, with Greg frozen temporarily, we'll talk a little bit about Wave 2. So Wave 2 had a couple more Switch only titles, or at least games that are on Switch. Fruit Mountain, Missile Dancer 2, and both of those are available now. So we have Matsuro Palette is coming May, so it should be out now. Machi Koro with Everyone, which is coming July 5th. Just Crow Things, which is releasing sometime this year. Dizzy Hero coming sometime this year. ZXC is coming sometime this year. RP7, which is also coming sometime this year. And Ninja Lesson or Eason is coming sometime this year. Steve, anything from Wave 2 that excites you?
Not at all. Yeah, this was one of those that I was like, oh yeah, I'm not excited about any of these. I mean, it's fine. Like they look great. I love like what you said. I think it's 150 games like in this entire showcase. So I'm not gonna like everything I see. But the fact that like there are that many indie games that are being shown off is just amazing. But yeah, I think all these they seem okay. I mean, this like Slappy World or whatever game, like Swappy World. It looks like a fun little cutesy card game. Great. Fruit Mountain. I don't know. A lot of these games like seem like they could be also on mobile, and they ported them over to Switch. And I think that's what I see on a regular basis is like stuff that could also be on iPhone or Android phone or whatever, but we're being able to now see them on our Switch, which is, fun in a lot of ways, but at the same time, like we've talked about so many times, and I'm going to talk about later again, there's so many games and not that much time. So something that just looks like another mobile game that's been ported over to Switch, it's not going to grab my attention enough to make me shell out some money and give up time away from all these other AAA games that are taking more of my time.
I feel that. Greg, are you back?
Let's try this again. Am I back?
Yay, Greg's back. So we did Wave 2.
Yeah.
What excites you from Wave 1 and Wave 2?
Wave 1, I was trying to say that the Hello Goodbye had looked pretty interesting. And then I was also going to say like that the last one, the Godzilla game, kind of looked like almost like an Advance Wars type game, which also looked possibly interesting, but I'll have to be checking out both of those further on. Wave 2, I don't believe anything really stood out, and I do kind of echo what Steve with like 150 games. It's kind of hard to get like 100, like even an already huge existing library of games, and even all these upcoming other presentations as well too. So some of this is just kind of lost in like the noise and stuff. So I don't believe anything in this Wave 2 had stood out for me.
All right, you want to take back over Wave 3?
Sure, as long as I'm still on. All right, so we have the Last Time I Saw You. It's coming out in 2024. Jack and the Detectives, the silent deduction game, released also in 2024. Gory Cuddly Carnage, releasing in 2024. VED, releasing in 2024. Lightwood, also 2024. Sulfur, same thing. And While Waiting, releases in October of 2024. So, Steve, did any of these stand out from Wave 3?
Yeah, I think the only one that really stood out to me was Dungeon Crawler. It's cute, and it's funny that we've not had a game that's just called what it is, Dungeon Crawler. So yeah, that's the only one that really stood out to me. It's cute. It's I enjoy dungeon crawling games. So I'm like, oh
But
look, Dungeon Crawler.
that's not on the Switch though.
It's not on Switch. Why
I
did
think
Nintendo Live put a video of it up?
because that's just the wave. That's the whole Wave 3.
Oh, that's the whole wave. Oh, my
Yeah,
bad.
that sees the
Well,
Steam in the bottom right corner.
then
The
no,
ones that they
nothing stood
talk
out
about
to
are
me.
the only ones for Switch.
Got it.
Everything
Nothing
else in
stood
there
out
is
to
for
me
other
then.
systems.
Yeah, the games in Wave 3 were not that it stood out to me were not for Switch. There's my answer then. My bad. Again, 150 games. It's hard to keep them all straight. Why isn't Dungeon Crawler coming to Switch? That's what I
It
want.
probably
Actually, I
will.
think it might be. I'll get back with you as you're talking about the games that stand out to you, because I actually get to check, because I think I actually saw it on the upcoming games list. I need to check that for sure, because I as I was putting that together for this episode, I am almost certain that I saw Dungeon Crawler on the list coming to Switch.
It's Crawler though, not Crawler.
Well, I may have actually. That also answers one of my questions of like, why do they call it that? But I'll get back with you on that while you're talking. Yeah.
Okay. For me, the Jack and Detectives is pretty interesting. I like different types of party games and different types of detective and whodunits. So I thought that was pretty cool. The others, again, it's hard to it's just really find something that really grips, and none of these really gripped me. I'm not saying that they're bad, and they could wind up becoming my next favorite game, but I just need more time and probably hands-on experience with them. What about you, Greg? Well, Steve looks for Dungeon Crawler.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you there, Barry. I mean, it's kind of hard to make like easy on must purchases on on first looks and initial trailers. And as you said, it could easily be game of the year material, but sometimes the trailer just doesn't do it justice. And then there's also way too many games that also are coming out on Switch like every single week. So it's kind of hard to make sure you pull out all the diamonds in the rough from all the other stuff that gets ported over that doesn't necessarily need to be ported over, but obviously everyone wants to have their games on one of the best platforms, so it's understandable why you'd want your game there.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Steve, did you find out anything?
I haven't found it yet. Yeah, but I'll want to keep looking. But
E4, go.
All right, so going on to the final wave of the Switch games out of this 150 game marathon, we have Rune Fencer Ilya releasing in 2024. Fragment, A Story and Growing, has an actual release date of June 25th, 2024. Miniatures, also 2024. And then Aztecs, The Last Sun, just has a TBD, and obviously that's pretty much up for grabs, and no one will know until more information is available on that. So, any of these games stick out for you, Steve?
well, since Gato is not one of the games that's coming to Switch, I guess I'm gonna skip over that one. But yeah, I think Fragment actually. Fragment is one of the series that like I played 1 and 2, and I didn't realize how much I was going to enjoy it, and so yeah, seeing I'm this just another game in this series is pretty exciting. So, and it's coming out pretty soon. So yeah, I think that's the only one that really stands out. I probably won't get it right away, but it was like, oh yeah, that grabs my attention more than the others.
And for me, it
What
was
about you, Barry?
Rune Fencer Ilya was the big one for me. That game I think looks fantastic, so I'm really excited to get my hands on that and play that.
Yeah, this for these set I do agree with Barry with the rune fence on that one. Kind of it's almost like just obviously without drills, but it's like that fast-paced action platforming type game, which should be somewhat interesting to play. That was one that was probably pretty much the highlight of this entire set of games that we just covered here today for me. So I think we're ready to move on to the next presentation.
Yeah, and before we do that, they also showed off some more stuff from Suda51 and Swery. So they showed another look at Hotel Barcelona. But again, that's not been announced for Nintendo Switch. But it is kind of a cool 2D slasher, hack and slash kind of game. So if you haven't checked that out, you can do that as well. Barry, let's talk about Marvelous Games Showcase, because that was also a recent showcase that we can talk about on this episode.
Yeah, so Marvelous did their second annual showcase. They did this the first time last year, and it went off really well, I thought, and apparently they did too. So they decided to do another one, and so we talked about a couple games, not only console but also arcade, mobile, and yeah, some interesting stuff I didn't know existed, and a lot of updates of games that I'm really excited about personally. So the first game they showed off was a game called Formagia, which last time they showed it off as Project Magia, and this is the new title, and they premiered the opening animation, which is playing now. They highlighted a few of the characters, the main characters, not all of them. So they're all designed by the popular artist Hiro Mishima. So 10 is the protagonist who often acts before thinking. Archie is his childhood friend who balances both kindness and a competitive nature, as well as her outfit. Chica is another childhood friend with a more reserved demeanor. And Lucky Lou, which probably has one of the best names ever, is 10's sidekick and de facto mascot. And this is planned for a global launch this year in 2024. So this is in development now. It looks to be another farming style RPG, but it's still really early. We don't know much about it. So yeah, so then we have the story of seasons was touched on. So they this of course, if you don't know, is Harvest Moon, is the real Harvest Moon. So Harvest Moon was Harvest Moon up until a certain point, which happened on, I believe, the Wii era, the end of the Wii era. Um, when and that's the 3DS, like the first Harvest Moon game on the 3DS, I believe, is a real Harvest Moon game. And then after that, Natsume took, they broke contact, and Natsume has the ownership of the name, and all Harvest Moon games are Natsume made Harvest Moons, and all made by the original Harvest Moon made by the original creators are now called Story of Seasons. So they went over about the history of Harvest Moon, or Story of Seasons in this case, and they showed off brand new gameplay for the brand new game coming out, and they did it full 3D. All the animals are in 3D. The graphics look significantly a step up, and they're even taking some stuff from Breath of the Wild. They've got a glider now. Like, you actually have a glider to glide around, which is really cool. Has me excited. This is just a phenomenal series. So I'm excited to see them actually going above and beyond and trying to, expand the scope of Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons, if you will. So if you want to just stick with Switch for now, and we'll come back to the other stuff. We do have a indie party lineup that they showed off. So apparently they are working with indie developers, as if there hasn't been enough support for indie developers. They showed off 3 games, and the first one was it Death by Guitar was the first one, I believe.
It was called Go something. There's like one word. I
Oh
thought.
yeah, something that was Bo.
Bo, yeah, that's what it was.
That was later on, was it? Oh no,
I
Bo
think
was the
so.
first one. Yeah, this
Yeah.
the thing I'm looking at has it differently. So Bo Path of the Teal Lotus was presented for Asia and Japan, coming this year, July 28th, 2024. Looks like a platforming style game. It's not announced for North America at this point, but if it does get a physical, it is region free. So please feel free to import. They showed a game called Death the Guitar, which was apparently a grand prize winner at Bit Summit 2023, where you play as an actual guitar as a platformer using your heavy metal to destroy and attack enemies, which looks really, really cool. And that is coming for 2025. And then another game called Moonlight Peaks. It's a supernatural themed vampire farming life sim from Dutch developer Little Chicken. That is for 2026. So once again, as Steve alluded to, another farming game. This one, although not made by Marvelous, Marvelous is just publishing it and coming out in 2026. But it's really interesting to see them, instead of being just in-house, actually assisting with outside indie dev studios to release some stuff. Then we finish off with two big heavy hitters as far as I'm concerned. The first is going to Rune Factory. Rune Factory, again, is a spin-off of Harvest Moon and a phenomenal series, in my opinion, of an action RPG with farming. And they showed off that last time they showed off two games. They showed off Rune Factory 6 and Rune Factory Project Dragon, and talking about how Project Dragon is for the East, where Rune Factory is more about the West. So they showed off gameplay here for the two protagonists for Project Dragon, which is set very Japanese setting, and it's male and female characters they showed off. They are Subaru or Kaguya. They're the two new Earthmates. And the twist this time is that these Earthmates use the power of dance rather than farming to communicate and interact with the world around them. They also add in two brand new combat weapons, including the parasol and the drums and talismans and bows and stuff like that. So this is a brand new look at the latest, I guess you could say, Harvest Moon or Rune Factory spinoff. And then finally, they ended with a game that Nintendo themselves published the first one of. So will they do it again? We don't know. And that's Demon X Machina Titanic Scion. It was just pretty much just a quick FMV that it shows like a desolate, destroyed world, and really kind of creepy looking. And on top of it, of course, is a mech for Demon X Machina, and very, very unique settings. I don't know how this plays out compared to the first game, or if the gameplay is the same, or if they're going for a more mature setting. But it's really nice to see that they're taking this game that Nintendo seemed to have just kind of forgotten. They put it out there and just kind of forgot about it. And they're saying, "Oh, we're going to do it ourselves, and we're going to work it out, and give it a sequel." So just for the stuff for Switch, or presumably for Switch, no consoles were actually stated, but presumably this will be Switch or Switch 2. Greg, we'll go to you. What are your thoughts on what they showed off?
Pretty much a lot of the farming stuff usually isn't up my alley, so unfortunately a lot of that stuff is a pass for me. In addition, some of the other ones like even like the Rune Factory, while it does seem like it could be somewhat interesting, it's just again the farming elements are not the best for me. So it pretty much the only standout could be Demon X Machina, but we kind of need more information on that one. I was kind of interested to play the first one, and I would definitely take a big closer look at it if it's already getting like a sequel or even like a side story or whatever the Titanic Scion turns out to be. But unfortunately, a lot of the ones didn't really interest me, but it's still great to see a lot of music like themed games along with the different farming games for those that enjoy those types of games.
What about you, Steve?
Yeah, Farmagia, like, it looks good. Like, I think they've done a great job with with the graphics and everything and stuff like that. It just didn't. It seemed a little interesting to me, but it wasn't something that really grabbed my attention. Two games that that I can't believe that I'm saying this. The new Story of Seasons game looks really good, and
Yes.
I've never said that about a Story of Seasons game where it was like, oh, okay, you're kind of almost convincing me to come play this game now. I still don't know if I'll enjoy the farming part of it, but okay, this is looking really good. So it's got me on the fence now, which has never happened from a Story of Seasons game. And then Rune Factory looks freaking amazing. And
I
again,
know.
I've never said that about a Rune Factory game. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Maybe this might be the point where I enter into this franchise and everything. So yeah, it's definitely got my attention. Demon X Machina could be really cool, but we just don't know. Like Greg said, we just know very little. I was excited. I was like, oh, okay, let's see more. Oh, it's just a teaser, and they pan through, and we don't know any more than we knew before. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, really surprised by Story of Seasons and Rune Factory.
Yeah, I've always loved Story of Seasons back, Harvest Moon, and I haven't played all the releases. There's been a ton, but I've had a lot of fun with them in the past. So, and I haven't played any of the more recent ones. Again, just time and everything. But like you said, this new one, depending on how much exploration there is, I mean, they wouldn't put a glider if there wasn't a lot of exploration. There would be no point to it. So the fact that they actually put that in and they drew attention to it, they called it out, means that their scope is very big with this game, and you could tell the graphical upgrade. This could be a real grand adventure with farming, of course, but um, I'm really excited to see what they do. And Rune Factory was a series again I didn't really play. I heard people talking about it, and I didn't start it until Rune Factory 4 on the Switch. I said, let me try it, and I fell in love. And I fell in love, and I did 5, and I did 3 special, and absolutely loved all 3 of those games. What a really cool series. It involved, they do involve farming. It's so light farming, and it's really just farming for money. Like it's more action RPG, Secret of Mana, Zelda than anything else. It just, oh, I plant my crops at night or in the morning and take care of them really quickly and use that just to get money to buy new equipment and it's just such a great series. And I love the fact that they're separating this from Rune Factory 6, and 6 is going to be more traditional, Western RPG, and this is very fluid, very Japanese, very Asian inspired, and it looks great. Like the graphics are way better than I expected, and the combat is fluid, and it almost feels like they're not even really doing much with farming at all. This could be just an action RPG, just with the Rune Factory name slapped on it. And like you guys with Demon X Machina, I did enjoy the first game. I never finished it. I hit a point where a mission just kept kicking my butt, and I put it down and I never went back to it. But I did very much enjoy what I played of Demon X Machina, and this trailer looked really cool. So I'm excited to see where they go with it and see what happens, because I do like mech games, so it'll be fun to do that. But then there were some other stuff thrown in that were more mobile, and an arcade, and that's kind of what they call like an amusement section. It was like right in the middle. There was there was definitely a mobile game that I forget the name of it, but it was only for Japan. Um, that looks like a just a typical gotcha. You found on screen. It's just like a typical gotcha. It's apparently like a Prince style game. It's like gods, like Zeus is there and stuff like that. It's definitely something that will never hit America, because people can't agree on anything and can't laugh at their own gods, like the Japanese can. And you collect stickers. That's a big, like, you collect these stickers and all that stuff. Very, very, again, very Japanese. But they did have several arcades. One that is coming to America is a game, Naruto Arcade Battle. So they're bringing in the Naruto arcade game over here that is hitting the states, and that surprised me. Usually Bandai Namco handles that, but here's Marvelous with Naruto. It comes with a massive 50-inch screen, and you get these actual little plates, like these actual physical plates you get. But then they also talked about this crane game, and the crane game is like this new type of crane where you can get the Harvest Moon plushes. But then out of nowhere, Pokemon, Pokemon Frienda. Here we have a Nintendo game made by Marvelous for Japanese arcades. Did not expect to see Pokemon here at all. but they have these arcades, and it definitely looks like you have to like smack and hit, and it almost like Pokemon Go to catch, and then you actually get the little cards of the Pokemon that you catch, and you got, and it's like you put a 100 yen in to play, and then you put another 100 yen in to try and catch the Pokemon, which just seems like they're sitting there and going to be like, we're gonna milk these effers for everything they have. And you know what? They're probably right. They do have these like two screen battles, which look really cool. But I can see these poor parents, and you see these poor parents in this presentation when these kids try to collect the Pokemon. You see them like crossing their fingers and praying, like, please don't make me throw another 100 yen into this machine. Please catch this Pokemon for me. You know, I definitely did not expect to see a Pokemon game at this presentation, nor did I have any idea that Marvelous was working on a Pokemon game, but they are. It's only in the arcades, it's only in Japan, and I wonder how many people are going to be selling these little cards or trying to import these little cards of their favorite Pokemon that you can only get in this arcade. Yeah, they are. They're praying. Look at them pray. They're like, please don't make me spend another 100 yen.
Yeah, I was so like shocked to see this all together, and and yeah, like, I mean, before we get into that, the try catch thing, I think I showed it just a little bit on the screen. It just looks so weird. I'm like, I think you just time it as it's spinning around and you can grab the plushes. I'm like, that seems pretty easy. So if you want your, Harvest Moon cows and stuff like that, you just grab them pretty easily, it seems like. And the Naruto thing, like, okay, cool. But yeah, the Pokemon thing is what really stood out to me. And the thing that stood out to me, like you said, Barry, it just is just total crash grab. For sure. It is like, take the idea of a free-to-play mobile game that charges you for everything and just put that in an arcade. That's exactly what this is. And to me,
I'm giving you something physical, though.
I guess they are. But to play it, if I'm not mistaken, all I seen was the kids just doing this all the time, just whacking as hard as they could. And so it's basically just like we waggle. And apparently, sometimes it spits out, a Pokemon card or plate from catching the Pokemon you got, and put money in and put money in it for every Pokeball and it's totally a cash grab. But like you said,
you want to know,
they'll be selling those things online for sure.
100 yen, by the way, is the equivalent of about 64 cents.
Okay. So yeah, just under $1 every time you want to throw a Pokeball or something.
Yeah,
I can't believe there were two separate transactions. That's what really stood out to me. Is like, oh, you want a Pokeball? Put in 64 cents. Okay, you got the Pokeball. That'll give us another 64 cents to actually open it. Like, what the heck? Like, sounds like it's absolutely atrocious, kind of very gotcha style manipulation there. Like, so then you don't even know which one you're actually getting either, obviously, because it's all random elements. But I can't imagine it'd be like playing like a game of like Contra or something. Like, oh, we've now put in 64 cents to get a power up. Like, oh, now 64 cents to like actually open up the power up, like to actually get it, to receive it.
If they were to take those cards and not care about them and put them on eBay and sell them for like $10-15, it's actually quite a good moneymaker if you think about it.
It's true.
But that's not money that the machine's making. That's money that the scalpers are making.
No, I'm saying that the players can make.
Yeah, you could feed your addiction. I got this rare EV card. It's only from this arcade machine. Give me $20 or 20,000 yen or whatever, and then then you could go back to the machine and get to open up, get some more cards. So
that's how I'm going to fund this next story we're going to talk about. That's what I'm going to do. That's what's going to happen. So funny enough, I just realized that the reason why I couldn't find the Naruto game is because we have the Japanese Marvelous showcase pulled up, and they did not show it in the Japanese one. They only showed it in the American one. And so it's like I was scrubbing along the bottom of the screen. Where is that arcade machine? And apparently was not shown off in the Japanese one. But yeah, so go to the American one to watch that. But yeah, exciting stuff. Anything else about the Marvelous Showcase before we move on to our last main discussion?
I'm just happy they're doing it. I mean, they have it's a smaller studio, and they have enough to pull together and do a presentation and showcase and show off what they have. And I think that's great because, I mean, just a few years ago, Rune Factory was dead, for example. They said they weren't doing any more. It was trapped on the DS and the 3DS, and that was it. And they gave it a chance with Rune Factory 4 Special. It was like, I think Nintendo might have even helped them with it a little bit, and it did so well that it rejuvenated the series. And obviously the thing with Natsume when that happened with Harvest Moon, and them having to just release it themselves instead of, they lost their publisher pretty much, and their publisher stole the name, so they had to rebrand it, losing their entire history outside of Japan, which sucked because the general consumer will pick up a Harvest Moon game on like PS4 or Switch and be like, oh, that's the game I played on the Super Nintendo or the N64, and it's like, no, it's not. It's a brand new game using the old name. So it's I'm glad to see them getting into the spotlight and doing that and really getting ahead, because there's so many games out there, and I you could tell they're larger than indie at this point. The amount of effort, like in the Rune Factory footage you see, like that's not an indie at this point. There's money behind it, so I'm glad to see them getting that attention because they're putting out quality stuff and they're not flooding the market. They're taking their time, which is always good.
Yeah. Greg, any final thoughts on Marvelous?
Echoing what Barry said, that it was great that smaller studio has a chance to show off some of their upcoming things. So it's still great that as a presentation, I understand that some of these games aren't for me, but I understand that not everything has to be directed at me specifically. So it's still great that they're showing a presentation and it's everything like that. And glad to see some really high quality stuff come out of there, with Rune Factory still going on and continuing after all these years and looking better and better.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to our last main discussion, and not a whole lot to talk about this right now because this just got announced. But Lego is branching out from, we've had all this Mario stuff, the whole Super Mario line, and we've talked extensively on this podcast. Every time there's a new Super Mario Lego series and design and set and everything, we say, you know what? That's great. It's especially great for kids, but what are they going to do for us Lego adults here that really want something more than this basic set? And I think Nintendo finally heard us, and they went back to an idea from 2015 from Toa Rika Brick, and came out with the Deku tree. Wait a second, that's the wrong one to pull up. Why did I pull up that one? Because back in July 2015, someone put a Lego idea out there for the great Deku tree. Or Deku tree. What do you guys say? Do you call it Deku or Deku?
Deku.
Deku? Greg, where do you fall?
Yeah, more like Deku as well.
Deku? Okay.
More like the Deku with actually pronouncing the E.
It all depends on what I'm feeling at the moment. But anyway, the Great Deku Tree was proposed years ago. Only got 460 supporters. Expired. I think you have to have several thousand, I think, for Lego to actually take a look at it. But here we are in 2024, and we're actually getting the Great Deku Tree coming September 1st. And it's going to be 2,500 pieces. It's going to be set 77092, and it's going to be 2-in-1. So it means you can get the one from Ocarina of Time, or you can get the one from Breath of the Wild, I believe, and kind of choose either of the ones that you want to make. I believe that's how we do it. We haven't had confirmation, I don't think, on that, but it seems pretty clear that you can choose one or the other, which one to build. And it's going to be $299.99. Yeah, that's why I'm going to have to be selling Pokemon plates in order to afford one of these things. So I'm going to spend, lots of yen to get my Pokemon plates and then sell them all in order to just get the Great Deku Tree in my house. Because if they continue going, guys, I'm going to spend thousands of dollars on building Lego Hyrule in my basement, and I will want to do it. I want to do it so bad, but I don't have thousands of dollars to spend on Lego, but I will want to. Why is this thing costing so much? Anyway, yeah, for reference, the bigger Nintendo Super Mario sets are going to be are like less than $300. Like Bowser is not even $300. Some of the NES wasn't even $300. Why is this so much? Anyway, I'm gonna stop ranting. I'm so excited about it, but I hate that it's $300. Greg, what do you think about this thing?
I'm pretty much right there with you. It kind of stinks that you can't even have like both of them even fully assembled. Like you even have to switch it and potentially do a lot of reassembly, even just to alter the design of it. We obviously don't know how much you have to like disassemble to reassemble it, but it kind of seems like there's enough changes there because like they're when they have like the little spider thing version. So like, does it? How much deconstruction is really necessary to kind of like remove that and to add in the other pieces? Hopefully, they make it very quick, easy way to switch the design of it. But as you're saying, like the $300 is definitely a lot to. Did I freeze? I think I froze.
you stuttered. Yeah. Little robot, but that's okay.
Yeah,
We got
I
to
think
this.
we got the idea of what you're saying, though. Yeah,
We heard enough together. Yeah, I'm with you there. I think
He's like
think
looking
the
so
300
intently because he's frozen.
Oh, we're frozen to them.
it might be. I'm going to mute you, Greg, just in case you're catching up there.
Yeah, I think he is. So the I agree with you with the $300. It definitely is expensive. Legos are expensive. I know this. I understand this. I hate that I dropped 300 on this, but I kind of had no choice. My hands were tied. I have a friend that dropped over $600 to get two of them to display them both, and that's what I would love to do. I want to display them both. I think it's so frustrating that we can't display them both, and that I feel if they sold each tree individually for $150, they would have a ton of people spending $300 to get them both. I would be one of them easily in a heartbeat. Like, yeah, let's get them both. And I feel like with the 2-for-1, they should give you enough pieces because they give you all the minifigs and stuff. They should give you enough pieces to make both of them. The fact that you can't is kind of screwy, and I'm wondering how much would it be to get any missing pieces that aren't used? Like, I can see Lego being, here's a $100 upgrade kit that will get you just the pieces missing or whatever, so you can build both of them. And you know what? I probably would buy that because I would want to display them both, as many people will.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like what's the difference between the two? I'm guessing it's quite a bit because I bet some of these pieces going to just be reused for the other one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't like, because I really hope like this is just the start. Like,
Oh yeah.
but here's the problem that I'm hoping, and I think I can't remember if I said this in our Discord or not, but I'm really hoping that, I think I made a tweet of this actually, that Lego doesn't see the lack of sales as our lack of interest, because I don't have the money to spend on $300 on the Deku tree. Do I want to? Absolutely. But if I can't do this, like if they continue to go down the line, let's say I want the castle more than I do the Deku tree. And so if I'm going to have to just pick one, then I'm going to pick that one rather than dropping thousands of dollars on all the different pieces, because what I really want to do is like I said, I want to build Hyrule in my basement. But if I don't have that kind of money, like, please, Lego, do not take my not buying the Deku tree as a sign that I'm not interested. Keep going, because if I'm going to spend that money, I'm going to do it on the castle instead.
Now here's a question: what if they do the castle next, and let's say it's $500 or $600 for Hyrule Castle or Ganon's Castle, 2 for 1? You can only build one of
Oh, I do Hyrule Castle.
them.
Not even
I'd be so
no
mad.
question at all. Like I do Hyrule over Ganon's Castle for sure.
Or Hyrule and Temple of Time or something like that. You can
Ooh,
only do
Temple
one
of
or the
Time would be
other.
cool too.
I feel like those would be two different sets, though. Temple of Time is pretty iconic in itself. I'm almost surprised that I know they announced like the Deku Tree was kind of like a shared element between Breath of the Wild and Ocarina of Time, but it's like the Temple of Time is also a pretty shared element. I even feel like it's in even more games than just Ocarina of Time and Breath of the Wild.
It's in Twilight Princess as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna do all these 2-in-1s. And here's the deal: like, I don't like. I did talk about this in Discord. I'm like, Lego, you're kind of like not being entirely truthful when you say 2-in-1 when you can't actually build two sets, two trees in one box, because all Lego can be reused to build something else. So like in theory, you've got thousands in one in every box. So don't call this 2-in-1 if you don't actually be able to build two trees in one box. So that's a little bordering on false advertising here, in my opinion. I don't know.
that's what I'm saying. They should have made it where you can do both, and there might be, but where you can do fully both. And if they did, like I said, 150 separately, people would buy both and get 300. So they just said, let's take away that choice. Let's make them have to buy them both. And I
Mhm.
think that would be fine. If this was $300 and it's absolutely you could build both trees, I would be absolutely okay with the price. I would be like,
Mhm.
that's fine. That is, to me, that is absolutely worth it. But if you can't and you got to spend another $300, how many sets of minifigs are you going to see on eBay afterwards for people who bought both sets and don't need an extra set and want to recoup their cost and try
Mhm.
and say, well, if you just want the minifigs, here's $100 or $150 or whatever. That's what I want to know, because you're going to see it. What do you need the extra minifigs for?
Yeah,
And
that's
what
true.
about the duplicate pieces? You know, here's the thing. Be like, oh, here's my excess pieces from both sets. Put them together. Miscellaneous bag of great Deku pieces. With the minifigs, 150, $200 or something like that. And you know what? If I could do that, I'd be down for it.
Yeah, I'm sure you could probably get the minifigs separately. And they look so cool. Like I have a bunch of them that are like third party, like not officially licensed Zelda characters and Mario characters and stuff that I've gotten at different expos and events and stuff like that. And actually, there's a company right here in town that sells them. And I enjoy those, and like it'd be cool to have the official ones. But yeah, like they're gonna have to be going for so much money online because people are gonna do that. They're gonna buy them and then sell them. Hopefully Nintendo and Lego strikes up a deal to buy the minifigs by themselves as well, and don't charge like 5 times as much as a regular minifig. But we'll see. Greg, did you actually end up getting the Deku tree? I know you were talking about it.
So yeah, I did end up biting the bullet and actually getting the set, but wasn't really happy with the price point as that was previously trying to talk about when I got cut off the first time around. So um, I would be much happier if you actually were able to assemble both of them like you guys we've already just been saying, but it's pretty much beyond my control, and it's just kind of at the mercy to have to deal with like having just one of them on display at a time and think about trading it out here and there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is pretty fun. Did you guys seen the original set from the Lego Ideas thing? Um,
Oh
so
my god.
yeah, Toa Rick Brick was the original creator of this back in 2015, and yeah, so you can put up any design idea you want, and if it gets, I can't remember what the number is. I think 10,000 likes or something like that is the number that like Lego will look at it and at least consider it. And this one didn't even get close to that. It's 460 supporters, but somehow down the line, they ended up going for it. And so it's fun to kind of look at least what this one creator's idea, what the Deku tree could have looked like at the time. But
He did
definitely
a pretty good job too.
he did a
considering.
really good job. Like all things considered, like he did a really good job. But of course, the final design that they went with this year is better. But yeah, this one is pretty strong for what he created.
Do you have to do that with real Legos? Like, do you have to, or is it just computer generate?
I've never submitted them before, so I'm not really sure if you have to. It might just all be, a concept if you created it on your computer. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I've never done that, so you can let us know and down in the comments if you guys know more about what it takes to submit a Lego idea. But anybody can do it. So my guess is maybe it can be computer generated, but I don't know for sure.
I think now I'm back. This has been such a wonderful time. I was saying that obviously can't really be submitting copyrighted ideas without like permissions and stuff. And then you can obviously, if you were to submit like whatever the Death Mountain or whatever for Ocarina of Time, it's not like they're just gonna like print it without getting permissions from Nintendo and stuff like that too. So I don't know how that is all related on submitting ideas.
Yeah, for sure. Like basically, yeah, you can submit whatever you want, and then if it reaches, again, I can't remember what the number is, but if it reaches that number, then Lego will officially look at it and consider all the different options. They'll consider what it will take to license it. They'll take into account how many pieces, what the price would be, all those different things, and they basically run it through their process if it reaches so many likes of your design. And so part of that would include running it through all the licensing deals and stuff like that to see if it's even feasible.
I guess another aspect of it, would they give you credit if your idea is actually picked? I mean, I understand like this Deku tree didn't reach that threshold and they necessarily don't have to give that guy credit, but I wonder if like had it reached that threshold, would they be obligated to actually give credit, or is it just assumed that the idea is theirs at that point and they don't have to do that?
No, I think it is. Yeah, they do like you get credit for what you get if it makes it. Yeah, which is pretty cool. So if you're interested in creating your own Lego design, I mean, head over to Lego Ideas, and it's like ideas.lego.com to submit your own ideas on there. And so, yeah, pretty cool. Well, let's move on to our last little segment here, talking about upcoming games that are coming out. Like I said earlier, we have kind of made some changes. I can't remember if we've told you guys before that we're going to take some time off, but our next episode is going to drop a pre-recorded episode on June 18th, 2024. So before then, there's a few games that are coming out, and so we're just going to, like we always do, scroll those on the screen. Thanks to Metacritic for providing that list. Kind of tell you about some highlights over the next few weeks, and then also talk about what we are hoping to play as well. So just scrolling through those again on the video version. But on June 5th, there's Ghost Teen Escape from Limbo. On June 6th is 2 games, 7 days, and then Aegis, the first mission. Sorry about that. And then also the Smurfs Village Party. Some of you excited about that. And then Cat Pipes. You're going to see a theme, as I talked about earlier. We have moved on from farms, and now we are totally into cat territory. Because June 13th, we're seeing Hidden Cats in Paris. Now, some of you are excited about that. June 14th, we're getting Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance and all its DLC, along with Monster Hunter Stories Collection and, Froggy Bouncing Adventures. Right alongside Shin Megami Tensei and Monster Hunter Stories, we're getting Froggy Bouncing Adventures. And then June 23rd, Grass Cutting Simulator, Lawn Moving Care. I know Barry's really excited about that one. Coming from our Lawn Mowing Simulator game chat. If you guys haven't checked that out, please be sure to do that. And then June 25th, we're getting Super Monkey Ball, Banana Rumble. And just going a little further, just in case, you wanted some more cats, you can also get one on A Street Cat's Tale 2 on June 27th. And then Luigi's Mansion 2 also comes out on June 27th. So what are you guys hoping to play over the next couple weeks? Greg, let's go to you first.
I will probably just be hitting more of the backlog and finishing up Paper Mario 64, and then also jumping into Thousand Year Old Door after that. So, up immediately, so I'll be just hitting those couple games there.
Nice. Barry, how about you?
Yeah, so this is kind of my calm before the storm right now, because I'm thinking about, I'm still playing Star Wars Hunters. I'm gonna keep doing that and see how that goes, because obviously that just came out, and obviously we have a game for review that we will be doing as well. But I've been debating going back to Shin Megami Tensei 5 and doing, seeing if I can finish it, because I've heard that the new one has the original path and a new path, and if I can finish the original path, then I'll do the new path. But with Monster Hunter Stories 1 is another game I would like to play, because I only played the second one, and then Super Monkey Ball coming out, and then Luigi's Mansion 2 and Final Fantasy 4 Dawn Trail and Trails of Cold Steel, or Trails into Daybreak is early next month, and it's just bang, 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 bang. And on top of that, I got my in-laws in for 2 weeks starting next week. So it's like, oh man, okay, my son's first birthday and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it's like craziness about to happen. So I'm gonna see what I can play and how much I get to play it. The good thing is at least the Switch is portable, and that's about the time I play my Switch the most portably, is when we have family over that hog the the living room TV, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna take it off and play a little more portably until I get back.
Nice. Yeah, I think none of the games that are officially coming out in the next couple weeks are like super exciting, which is nice. So I think I'm gonna be spending time with some other games that we're gonna be reviewing soon. So like we just got Wildlands. That I'm gonna be playing that pretty soon to get a game chat on that. Checking out Star Wars Hunters as well, and then a Suika game, the multiplayer just dropped, I think, recently as well, and kind of forgot that the multiplayer is going to be coming, and so I'm probably going to be updating that and playing that probably with my wife quite a bit as well. That's that watermelon stacking game, and so that's just one of those addicting games that I've been playing quite a bit. So to have it multiplayer is kind of fun. And I think that's probably what I'm going to be spending the most time with soon. And like Barry, I'm going to be super busy with traveling and other stuff over the next several weeks. So trying to fit in some little games here and there while I'm in between everything else is going to be maybe a challenge. So we'll see how much I actually get in over the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I'm glad that there's a little bit of a lull during this time, because a lot of announcements and a lot of news we're gonna have to cover, and a lot of everything else with the rest of life. So I'm really glad that we're not getting like a brand new Zelda game in the middle of all this and a brand new Mario game. I'm like, oh no, where am I gonna find the time to play that? So it's kind of nice that super bumpy, bouncy, froggy adventures is the only thing that I might not look forward to. So, Hidden Cats in Paris. That's what, or Cat Pipes. So many cats. It's that Stray game. That's what's done it. All of a sudden, like Stray did well. Let's put cats in everything. Next thing we know, we're gonna have cat farming.
Well, maybe that.
There we go. That
followed Mario. 3D World cat power.
That's true.
Yeah, that's what I was. They'll probably that's where Nintendo will just come out of nowhere, do their little shadow drop. Oh, you wanted a new Mario game? Here's Mario Wonder 2, and you can play as Cat Mario. And like,
yep, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Before we go, we do want to remind you one more time to check out magicmind.com. NintendoFuse. You can get your shots again 85% off. Or sorry, not 85. That'd be ridiculous. 48% off your first subscription and 20% off your one-time purchase with the code NintendoFuse20. And make sure you head over there. And honestly, just use that code or the website and check it out. And that lets them know that you came from our direction. And pop that code in there. 100%. Like, you can get your money back if you don't like it for 100 days. So try it out, check it out, and use our link and use our code. Thank you guys so much for sponsoring this episode. You can find all those links and our codes and everything in our show notes, but also the YouTube description as well. Please remember to subscribe. Please remember to connect with us on social media and our Discord. And like I said, our next episode is going to be June 18th. It'll be a pre-recorded episode, so you can't join us live, but we'd still love for you to check it out and share it with others as well. Barry, family coming in, like lots of things going on in your way. More handheld gaming, huh?
Yeah, it will, but there's so much going on as well that I'm doing behind the scenes that I need to work on, and like I said, I'm really happy that there is this lull because it allows my productivity to go up because I'm not as distracted by games I want to play and finish. And there's a few more anime during this week-long trial I have for Crunchyroll that I'm going to be watching, and I'll be using my magic mind to help me stay focused. That's for sure.
There you go. And Greg, am I right that the next time we see you on the podcast, you'll be a married man?
Yes, that will be true. So it's... Did I drop again?
Nope,
No, you didn't. I was going to say technically we'll be recording before the wedding.
That's true.
Yeah, that is true.
We'll actually be time traveling.
Live episode.
Jakester will be so excited. We've figured out time travel. Time travel. Sorry,
And
that was my
secret is magic mind. Just kidding.
yes.
We're so focused that we're figured out the solution there. It's all of life's problems.
Yes. So, well, cool. Early congratulations.
Absolutely.
So,
I think everybody needs to post in the comments their congratulations for Greg.
yes.
And the best wedding gift we can get him is that we can get Steve to play a booby game. Let's make it happen.
Man, so much editing in this podcast episode. So much that I'm going to have to do. Well, thank you guys for being here for another episode. 294 is going to be dropping on June 18th, 2024. So excited to see you then. Again, pre-recorded, but normally join us live every other Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. We'd love to see you in the chat room. And again, if you if it would help you for us to go live on Twitter or X, let us know. We're kind of exploring those options as well. So we'll see you next time, and happy gaming, everybody.
Have a good one.
See you next time.